I don't understand Katie, and I don't understand what her motives were, and I'm hurt by her choice to come on here and just, instead of approaching it like we're real people and real friendship, in mine, when I watch it, I'm like, oh, I got played. And you approached this like it was a game. And you played me and you used me. And that's how I feel now watching it. And it is really upsetting me because I also don't do that. I don't talk to people prior. I don't get involved in the stuff, even the stuff I'm being accused of, I'm not even doing, and she's even admitting that. But then she just continues on with this false narrative. And it's like if she thinks she could just say it enough, it'll become true. And then it escalates, and that you'll see it spiral out even more. And I was going through such a difficult personal time. And I was also then having to constantly defend myself for things that were just coming and made up out of thin air. And that's incredibly, incredibly hurtful to me.
I want to gab. All right, today we're gabbing with Gina Kirschenheiter of The Real Housewives of Orange County, which is currently having a banner season, honestly, for this show. And I think, Gina, you're a big part of that. I'm so excited to chat with you today. We're here in honor of your work with Clorox. We just released a great commercial starring you and Dr. Nicole together. This is an exciting time to be Gina. How are you?
Thank you for saying that, Gibson. It is an exciting time to be me. I am actually doing really well. This partnership with Clorox has been so incredible. And I couldn't be more thankful for a more natural partnership with like products that I actually use for my whole life, so that was really cool. And I have to say, Dr. Nicole is awesome, like really rad chick. I don't actually watch Miami, but now I'm like, I might. And I knew nothing about her, but I was so taken aback by how I was like, I would be like real friends with you. She was really cool.
I love that. Are there any fun little stories from on set? Because that must have been a fun day to shoot together.
It is a really fun day to shoot together. I think there wasn't any like moment that was weird or odd. I think I was just personally very surprised by how go with the flow she was. Like she didn't come in with glam squad.
Wow.
I'll give you a little bit of tea. She because you never know what to expect, and I've seen it all, honestly. And I love all the women for all of the ways that they are.
Of course.
I really do.
The whole spectrum, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. But even just, I was very surprised, and she was just so easygoing. And then I think it was cool because it's always interesting to see, and also she's a doctor, and she's a legit doctor. She's like an anesthesiologist. Like that's no joke. So then I didn't know, but she was just so normal and cool. So it was fun to hang out with her for the day.
Love. And, Clorox and Bravo have had a pretty great relationship for a while now. I remember last year at BravoCon, Clorox was all over the bathrooms with like, bedazzled housewives sayings and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, it must be kind of cool to be kind of included in a bigger way via this.
Yes, it is.
There we go.
Very cool to be included. I now have 2 bedazzled Clorox containers, and they're like trophies for me. I feel very special. But yeah, no, it is really cool. And I am a mom. At the end of the day, I understand I'm part of this crazy housewife world, and I accept that with honor, but I really am just such a normal person, and I really am just a mom. And so my day-to-day life it looks like the Bravo bathroom. It's just like Clorox products everywhere. And if I'm not cleaning, I'm driving or solving problems or fixing boo-boos. So I couldn't think of something that would be a more natural fit. So it's been really cool to be a part of it.
That's amazing. So
yeah,
I mentioned at the top of this, Gina, that it's been a banner year for the show. And, you've had a lot of personal storyline happening. You've had a lot of interpersonal drama happening on the show. I guess first, like, how does this season feel different for you in particular from past seasons? You've been on the show for quite some time now, but I feel like this year, something about your presence on the show feels different in a very positive way.
Well, thank you for saying that. I think I'm just in it a lot. Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm almost like, it's too much. Like, I feel vulnerable out there, But yeah, I guess it's like I've never been the person who needed to be like a Shannon Orange or like the core, or I've always just been happy to hang out and be what it is. And I feel like through the years, I've just naturally had a natural evolution and progression towards becoming one of the more core people, And I feel like at this point, the good thing is a lot of us really feel like core and we really
Totally.
are friends, whether you see me and Heather DeBro being friends in real life or not, we've known each other for years. So we are, you know what I mean? We're bonded by all of this that's happening around us, and we truly have friendship. And I think that is what the biggest thing that is resonating with people is that it's like the reality is back in reality here. And I think people are kind of wanting that. I don't even know if people were aware of how much they were wanting it. And then seeing what's happening with some of the other franchises too, it's almost like it got to the point where you can only go so much with the toxicity and clearly these women aren't friends before the balloon pops. And we're at a really, really good place right now with all of our relationships, whether they're actually good with each other or bad, they're real. So I think that's and it's not so. Everything I'm in is just real and not toxic to the nth degree,
Yeah,
So,
100%, 100%. Yeah. And Gina, I'm curious because first of all, I want to say the TikTok you put out the other day, I thought, I think it's genius because I've been watching and studying these shows for so long. And one of the things I think is so essential to be a successful housewife is to be in on the joke and be self-deprecating and be able to kind of take some of that, because that's just kind of part of the territory. So I think it's great that you jumped in and just did that and kind of made fun of yourself a little bit.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, like I'm a mom, I'm so busy. Do I want to serve looks all day, every day? Absolutely. But like, you know what? I wore that dress to a party. I loved it. I was like, I look great. Even before I went in that interview chair, I was like, ooh, I'm from Long Island. I was like, my hair has so much volume and I am here for it. Like,
the higher the hair, closer to God.
Wrong with it. Yeah. I was like, I've already been down a bad road before. This is great. And I think that sometimes the things just don't translate well. And at the end of the day, you've got to laugh. You've got to embrace it. I saw what everybody else, I knew I was going to get torn up too, because we get the episode early. And as soon as it went, I was like, wait a minute. And then I was like telling Travis, I was like, no, I was like, babe,
it's going to happen.
Born up. Like I knew. So and then it happened. But I love the fans. And you have to embrace
of course.
And I would rather get on board and be a part of it because that feels good, feels right to me.
Yeah, totally.
I would love to do more of that. I'm not a natural person that's like social media all day, so I'm trying to just
you
do
nailed
it
it.
more.
You nailed it. Yeah.
Thank you.
And speaking of fan reaction, Gina, Tamra is getting a lot of heat for how she's handled everything with Shannon this season, I think. And it's, I guess it's up to interpretation if you think she's overstepped or not, but a lot of people seem to think that way. And you have taken the complete opposite approach to that. You've been really supportive of her, which I think is really big of you considering how much she held your past over you. And I'm just curious, like looking at how fans have reacted to how Tamra is treating Shannon this year and knowing how you have treated Shannon this year, you must feel pretty good about how you handle that situation and how you're handling that situation this season.
I do feel good about that, but at the end of the day, I don't think that there was any other way that I would have handled it. Like I am who I am. I have been through, a lot of actually the similar things that Shannon has been through, not just with regards to, her addressing her drinking or whatever, but, in our past, like we've had similar journeys and we've been walloped by similar things. And I am sympathetic to her. I think that it would be in my mind to ask a woman for years and years to please have enough decency and respect for me to stop weaponizing this help that you gave me and hurt me with this, and to be asking for that. And then to finally receive that. And then if I was not to embrace that, to me would be awful, and if I was to hit her over the head with it, would also be insanely hypocritical. And I'm just not that person. I'm not going to ask you for something that I wouldn't do myself. That's just not how I operate. And am I asking you to be kind and, grant me grace? I'm going to do the same thing for you. And as soon as Shannon apologized, I knew she got it. And that's all I needed. I care about Shannon, and she was going through it. Like I equate a lot of the problems between her and I to what she was going through, a lot of it, during those years. And now she's seeing things from a different perspective, and she's working on herself, and it's not flawless and it's not perfect, but she's trying, and I'm about trying. I don't know when we got to a place where it's not cool or acceptable to try.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you make of the reaction to how Tamra is handling the situation?
It's hard. It's hard to watch. Listen, I understand from Tamra's perspective, because I had conversations with Tamra even prior to going into filming. Like, she was very hurt. She feels like she's been carrying the bag for a long time with regards to like handling Shannon and, her emotions and her drinking and all of that. And I get that, but I keep telling her, like, you absolutely have the right to say, listen, I've been impacted by this. And if you're not willing to stop drinking completely, I cannot do this anymore. Perfectly valid. But if you're making a choice to then remove yourself from this person and their problems and their situation, you have to remove yourself. And that's where I think she's struggling, because she wants to just be like, draw this line in the sand. But then I think her emotions come up, and she's holding on to clearly a lot of anger, and it would come out, and it wasn't okay.
Totally. So Gina, obviously we're here because of your partnership with Clorox, and, it's about cleaning up messes and all these things. But in honor of that, I wanted to ask you what you think your messiest moment on Housewives has been over the years, where you were the most messy.
It's my track hanging out the back of my head. That will forever be my mess, my personal mess of honor, that I wear that badge, like, for sure. I think that was probably the messiest moment.
I was thinking more like in terms of like drama, but that.
I mean, I don't know. Looking back, I've gotten myself into some sticky situations. Obviously, like having to go to Heather when that woman was in her home and she had sued her.
Yeah, that was tough.
There
that was
isn't
tough.
a Clorox wipe big enough in the world to clean up that. That was wild.
That was an all season cleanup situation.
That was an all season. I mean, I was burning through those Clorox wipes that season.
So thinking about this season, we're still pretty much in the middle of it. I mean, I feel like there's still so much to come in terms of it being mixed up, probably, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But again, you and Shannon have become friends, or friendly again, and you kind of buried the hatchet. You and Katie's friendship is being complicated by the thing with Heather, and vice versa, I would say.
Yeah.
You and Travis are going through it, but it seems like now you are in a good place celebrating your 5-year anniversary. When it comes to thinking ahead, I know we have probably 10 more episodes of the season, but if you think ahead to the reunion, what's top of mind for you in terms of a mess to clean up or something to address?
I think the most of it would be, I don't understand Katie, and I don't understand what her motives were. And I'm hurt by her choice to come on here and just, instead of approaching it like we're real people and real friendship, when I watch it, I'm like, oh, I got played, and you approached this like it was a game, and you played me and you used me. And that's how I feel now watching it. And it is really upsetting to me, because I also don't do that. I don't talk to people prior. I don't I don't get involved in the stuff, even the stuff I'm being accused of, I'm not even doing, and she's even admitting that. But then she just continues on with this false narrative. And it's like, if she thinks she could just say it enough, it'll become true. And then it escalates, and that you'll see it spiral out even more. And I was going through such a difficult personal time, and I was also then having to constantly defend myself for things that were just coming and made up out of thin air. And that's incredibly, incredibly hurtful to me.
Right.
And there also hasn't been any apology for it. So,
okay. So maybe we're waiting for the reunion for that. But so in terms of that situation, Gina, you stand by how you handled it in terms of what you knew when and what you apologized to Heather about. Like you really stand firm in that part of it.
100%. I mean, look, I'm a human being. When she texts me, you know, when I'm doing 300 things and she texts me, oh, I talked to, I don't even know, you know, I'm like, I don't even look at the thing. I'm not like Emily, you know, who's like, oh, let me make sure this is, I don't freaking know. She said it to me. I was like, that she's hysterical, you know? and then I was like, very quickly, like, don't do that. It is not in your best interest. And honestly, I was doing it for Katie.
You were. I remember. Yeah,
because
I felt that way as well.
My perspective was, if you bring this up, you're never going to get anywhere with Heather, you know? So, and then she agreed and she said she was never going to bring it up. And so I forgot about it. And I never told Heather because I thought I handled it, you know? And I apologized to Heather. In hindsight, I guess I should have told you. But if I would have told her, she still would have hated the girl. So it's like, you know, at least give her a fair shot. So the fact that this is all now, people make the choices that they make, and then they want to put it on someone else because they get scared about the choices that they've made. And I will not tolerate that.
Right. And I think that moment when you went, when you two were trying on the dresses to go to the golf event, and you said, either you address it or I'm going to address it for you, because I think you obviously saw where it was going, and it wasn't a good place. No.
If I wanted to set Katie up, I could have went and told Heather.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't. And I told Katie, tell her or I will, because I was being a good friend, you know, to both of them. So how it all got put on me, I don't really get it. And I can't see that I'm not hurt by it.
Right. Last thing I want to ask you about, Gina, is, you know, we're seeing this thing start to emerge on the show, a little bit of you and Emily, and you saying that she's changing a little bit and becoming a little bit of a mean girl because of hanging out with Tamra a lot. Where are we going to see that go and kind of affect and complicate your friendship? Because you two have been so close for so long, but that's an interesting wrinkle.
Yeah, it is an interesting wrinkle, but I don't think that, you know what the bottom line is? Emily and I are really, really, really best friends. She is like a sister to me. So, and that's what sisters fight and best friends fight. And so I think it is actually will be very interesting for the fans and the viewers to watch, because what you're going to see is real friends who have real feelings and need to get them out, you know? And Emily and I are so secure in our friendship that we are okay to have vulnerable moments and not, you know, stellar moments. And we're okay to showcase that part of our friendship because we love each other, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that you don't see us get into it, because you will this week. But at the end of the day, Emily and I,
you're so
like
solid.
family.
Yeah, you're so solid. Yeah, it's like, it makes total sense.
Well, fun
Gina,
to watch, actually.
Well, Gina, this has been so fun to get some time with you. And again, this is very exciting for you to be part of this. And is there anything else you'd like to plug right before we sign off?
No, you know what? I am. Thank you for that, Kristen. But I'm just happy that I want to just plug my castmates and my producers, because I think that this has been an incredible season, and everybody was like so hardworking and amazing. Production and crew and my castmates. And I would like to just shout everybody out, because we worked hard and it's paying off.
I completely agree. You're killing it, firing on all cylinders, and it's been fun to watch. It really has. So thank you again, Gina, and hopefully we get to talk again soon.
Thanks, Gibson.
I want to gab.